go to artlist.io.
Go to motionready.com to add this to your video.
We have all seen the ads. Some of us have used them, some of us upload to them. Royalty-free asset stores or royalty-free music libraries. Have you actually ever wondered how their business model works? Well, I have. I looked at 7 different royalty-free asset stores or music libraries, and I have to say, it's modern day slavery. But hey, don't worry, there's still some hope left. Number 7 will save us all. Let's take my glasses off. So, I am ViktorZin, a fellow broke musician and video game composer looking to earn some money. Recently, my plans shifted quite a bit, so I started to look into things, one of which being royalty-free asset stores or stock footage libraries. So I have some personal and positive experience with one particular asset store called the Unity Asset Store. In a previous life, I was a video game developer and I created a mandala shader for the Unity Asset Store. Currently it's not on there anymore. For technical reasons, I have to rework it. In 2019, I uploaded the shader and I wanted to just try things out and see how things would go. And to my surprise, I actually started earning money. It wasn't a lot. I earned from $7 to $28 a month. What surprised me the most is that I earned consistently every month, almost every month, from $7 to $28, which brought me in roughly $120 to $140 a year. And of course, that's not a lot, but it was consistent, and that's interesting. So I thought, okay, maybe I should explore this more. Let's quickly go over how the Unity Asset Store actually works. So, it's non-exclusive and the royalty split is 70-30 in my favor. So what does that mean? So exclusive versus non-exclusive. Very simple. Exclusive means that I can only upload this one asset to this one particular asset store. So in my case, if Unity was exclusive, then I could only upload my mandala shader to Unity's asset store. I couldn't upload it anywhere else. Unity is actually non-exclusive, meaning I have uploaded my mandala shader there and I can upload my mandala shader to other asset stores, which is pretty cool, right? So that's the difference. Exclusive means only one store, non-exclusive means I can spread it across multiple different stores. The royalty split is also very simple. Every time I sell my asset, the earnings are split into 2 groups, one of which goes to me and one of which goes to the asset store. And the percentages just say how much they are taking. So in Unity's case, they take 30% and I am left with 70% of what I earned. And there's another asset store. Unreal also has an asset store called the Epic Unreal Marketplace. Their royalty split is actually 88 to 12, meaning I get 88%, the asset store takes 12%, which is very generous. So now that we are familiar with these terms, exclusive, non-exclusive and royalty split, let's look at some asset stores and compare their business models. The first asset store in my journey was Pond5. Pond5 has a royalty share of 35% for music and sound effect sales. Pond5 is taking 65% of earnings. And this is fairly low when you compare it to their royalty share of 50% for photos and illustrations or After Effects templates, or their royalty share for video footage. 40% for non-exclusive and 60% for exclusive material. Pond5 also has a referral system. If you manage to convince people to shop on Pond5, each time they purchase something, you will get 5 to 10% commission of that for a whole year, so you can earn more money by referring people. So after looking at Pond5, I had a lot of mixed feelings. Like, all of this would be totally fine, but I was just shocked, and when I saw how little they're paying out, I mean 35%, that's crazy. They're literally milking musicians and their music for profits. And not only musicians, I mean the video and the images and the templates. I mean 50%, that's a lot. That's like they're taking half of it. I personally thought that a 70-30 royalty split was actually quite a lot, but I could still agree to that. Pond5 is taking 65% of your earnings. 65. You have to understand, their business would not work if it didn't have assets to sell. If there was no creator who was uploading to Pond5, they wouldn't have a business. But okay, hey, you know what? Surely, not every asset store is like that. Like, that's impossible. 123RF is another stock footage library. They are non-exclusive and they pay out over PayPal once you earn $50. You can earn anywhere from 30 to 60% of your earnings. Because I'm a musician, I was specifically focusing on music. Their music is all credited and costs 10 credits, which is roughly $1, so $10. So at the lowest rate, you get 30% of your earnings, meaning from those $10 that you would potentially get, you only get 3. 123RF is taking $7 of your sale. Okay, but how do I earn more money? I mean, I just said 60% is possible, right? If you manage to accrue a high enough contributor level, then you can actually earn up to 60% of that sale, which makes it go from $3 to $6. There's a table. If you manage to get 1 million downloads, then your asset will get you a 60% cut. 1 million downloads. There's also a lot of competition on 123RF. I have looked at all of the genres that are available. Basically comes down to 394,000 or 400,000 tracks. And I don't think that any of them are getting 1,000 downloads each. Okay, so the next one is Envato Elements. Envato Elements has a vetting system, meaning that you upload your files, your assets, and a team will evaluate the quality and decide if you are allowed to upload to Envato Elements or not. What is their royalty split? And I quote, 50% share of net revenue from regular students and teams subscription goes straight to our authors every month. Authors also share 25% of the net revenue from Elements Enterprise subscriptions. Let's disregard that 25% from Enterprise. That's kind of their business-to-business subscription service that you only get 25%. But 50%, I mean, that 50% sounds like almost kind of somewhat maybe acceptable. I mean, it's a lot better than the 30 and 35% before. Let's look closer at how Envato Elements actually works. So, a single subscription to Envato Elements costs 1450 euros a month, and the customer gets unlimited downloads. Unlimited. If a customer is subscribed to Envato, but they don't download anything, then all of that money goes to Envato. Which, sure, that makes sense. Now, if they do download something, the following happens. Envato tells you that they have a 50-50 split. That's not quite true. The first thing that they do, and they have an example on the website, the first thing that they do is they calculate costs for refunds, for chargebacks, for tutorial creation, for coupons and affiliate commissions, which in their example totals roughly 5%, and they keep that. 5% is 72 cents, so you are left with 13.78. So now that split of 50-50 is applied. 13.78 divided by 2, which is 50%, is 6.89. One half of these, 6.89, goes straight to Envato again, and the other half goes to the artists. Artists, plural, that's very important. Plural. Let's look at some examples of what could happen. So imagine this customer downloads only one single track. Only one track, right? And this track belongs to you. You get 50%, so you get 6.89 euro. That's really cool, actually. If the customer actually downloads 2 tracks from you, you get 6.89. If this customer downloads 100 tracks from you, you get 6.89. So if the customer actually downloads 2 tracks, one of which being from you, you get 3.45, so half of 6.89. And if the user downloads 100 tracks, one of which being from you, you get a total of 6 cents. And they have unlimited downloads. So, you know, if I was a customer, I would just subscribe to it for 1 month and download as many tracks as I could. I don't give a shit. I spent 14.50 for this, but the artist gets 6 cents. Also, don't forget the author fee. If you have a non-exclusive account, because non-exclusivity and exclusivity is locked to the accounts, you have a fixed rate of 55% author fee. So let's look at the numbers from before. Awesome. But hey, wait. Okay. This is non-exclusive. Let's look at exclusive, because I mean, that's a lot better. If you have an exclusive account, then that fee is a lot smaller. It's only 37.5% in the beginning. If you earn Envato Elements a ton of money, they will slowly but surely lower the fee to a very generous $12.50. Once you earn them $75,000 a year. A year! Also, this is just for individual and teams plans. For enterprise, the 50%, the initial 50% shrinks to a 25%, and then I assume all of the same rules apply. So you only get 25% of whatever the enterprise plan is that's individually decided between business to business. So yeah, it's not very fair, is it? So the next one is Artlist. Artlist, I think most people are familiar with. Artlist is also non-exclusive, meaning you can upload to Artlist and other different platforms. Artlist pays out once a year, somewhere from December to January, is subscription-based, and unfortunately I could not find any specific data for musicians. So I used data for filmmakers that was available to me. The royalty cut there is 30% for the artists and is based on how many downloads a customer made and what subscription plan they use. So that's very similar to Envato Elements, and you only get 30%. But hey, at least there are no additional fees. Oh, look at that. A smiley. How fun. Motion Array has a vetting system. So you apply with your assets, a team then evaluates those assets and decides if you are worthy or not of uploading there. So Motion Array is also non-exclusive, and they pay you once you earn $50. So what is Motion Array's royalty split? Let me quote some stuff. Motion Array's royalties model aims to support our community of artists, helping you reach your earnings potential and grow along with us. The model is built in a way that champions great content. By creating your best work, you'll be able to boost your downloads and increase your earnings. Music and sound effects, you can get up to 40% of royalty split, which, to be honest, is surprisingly higher than stock videos or stock photos that cap out at 35% and 30% respectively. Motion Array is more geared towards Premiere Pro and Adobe After Effects templates, giving them up to 50% royalties. So that sounds pretty good, right? I said up to. They all kind of start out at 10%. Motion Array is actually taking 90% of your earnings. 90%! You only get 10%. That's crazy. The more downloads you have, the more money you will make, and the more of a cut you will get. If your music gets more than 4,700 downloads, you get 40%. Have I mentioned that it's a monthly thing? Like 4,700 downloads per month. And also per track, of course. I mean, it's not accumulative, of course not. Okay, so the next one is quite unusual, quite different, totally different. So, Epidemic Sound. They also have a vetting system, so you apply with your assets and a team evaluates it and then decides if you can upload, you know how it works. They actually pay those selected artists upfront to create a music track in a short and non-exclusive deal. Now let's talk about that, because that's a bit nuanced. They pay people up front. It's not clear how much they pay them. Hopefully it's a fair rate. The short and non-exclusive deal is not regarded to the created song, but it's regarded to the contract between the company and the artists, meaning they quickly make a contract with the artists, get a song, and then that contract is over. So then the artist is not bound to Epidemic Sound, which is not a bad thing. It's actually quite a good thing, to be fair. Is Epidemic Sound good or bad? Well, I don't have any numbers. But what I do know is that after the track is finished, they strip the artists of every and all copyrights, meaning that the artist does not own the song anymore. The song is then put on Epidemic Sound and the royalty split is 50-50. That's an exclusive deal. So you have to understand, Epidemic Sound owns that song. And if you want to use your own music, that song that you wrote for them, you would have to subscribe to Epidemic Sound as a customer, license your own song to yourself, otherwise you can't use it. So I personally think that's pretty shitty, and most other countries agree with me, because Epidemic Sound only works with a select few countries, namely USA, UK and Sweden and some others, because in most countries it's illegal what they're doing. You cannot strip an artist of their copyright. You can't do that in Germany, you can't do that anywhere else. I mean, I'm based in Germany. You can't do that here. It's impossible. It's illegal. That's why they don't work with people in Germany. And honestly, I wouldn't want to give my rights away to the songs, to the music, even if I could. That's a very bad deal. So now we have seen 6 of the 7 stores that I looked at, and this is truly terrifying. Like, these are big, well-known companies and their business models work for them, They get a ton of assets too, and it's shocking. Like, people are uploading and getting ripped off, basically. I mean, they're milking musicians dry. They're milking content creators dry. I mean, it doesn't even matter if it's music, it's videos, it's photos, it's even the templates. I mean, taking 50% is a lot. Yes, they do have hosting costs. They do have personal they need to pay, but Unity and Unreal are like big corporations, big giant companies. Their royalty split is a lot more generous than that. So it's crazy to me that that's how much money they take. It's insane. But hey, I promised you there's hope. I promised you a light at the end of the tunnel. Let me introduce you to MusicVine. MusicVine has made it their mission to fight back against all of these greedy music licensing companies and their exploitative business practices. MusicVine CEO Lewis Foster wrote an open letter to music creators detailing his concerns. I'm writing this letter to raise awareness of the seismic changes that are currently happening beneath the surface of the music licensing industry. I find it deeply troubling to see our collective space being increasingly reshaped by aggressive profiteering. The subscription model inherently masks the extremity of the devaluation. If a price tag of $1 to purchase a license to use a track forever with no limitations were displayed, no musician would give these companies the slightest consideration. Such absurdly low prices aren't even expected of bottom-of-the-barrel stock music libraries. The one-size-fits-all subscription model recklessly cuts musicians off from the economics of how their own music is licensed. Instead, the earnings that artists make per placement become dictated entirely by volatile extraneous factors, namely the total number of subscribers, the total number of usages across all subscribers, and the number of tracks artists on the platform. If you sell something valuable but at a rock bottom price, it's going to sell a lot and fast, which will add up to something that appears reasonable. In the worst case scenario, it would mean that the invading business models monopolizes. Previously prosperous routes to earning from music licensing would atrophy, and music creators would be left with no choice but to join the subscription models. Subsequently, the rapid catalog growth on these platforms combined with their market saturation would result in an average artist earnings quickly decreasing until they are reduced to a pitiful amount. Many composers are already well aware and equally as troubled by all of this. Our industry and our craft thrives when we recognize the value of our own music and when we have integrity about how we earn from the usage of our work. When musicians disregard the value of their own music and focus instead on making money through any means, that's when they give power to business models designed to profit and domineer by burning through the value of music. It is both a prerogative and the responsibility of music creators themselves to recognize profiteering business models for what they are, to put integrity before quick money making, and to be bold enough to decide which direction their own industry takes. Platforms like MusicVine still strive to ensure that both up-and-coming artists and production music creators alike can earn fairly and sustainably from the placement of their work. %50 of the music that you do upload must be exclusive to MusicVine. I mean, they are actively trying to save you and your music, so it's totally okay. You can earn more money with MusicVine using their referral scheme. They're calling it the scheme themselves. It's crazy. So how this referral scheme works is that every time you refer a new musician to MusicVine, you can add 5% more of the royalty share to one of your tracks. This maxes out at 50% for non-exclusive tracks and at 75% for exclusive tracks. So what you are supposed to do is you have to upload exclusively and refer 3 people to get 75% of the royalties for your song. You know, I think it's very bold what they're doing. I mean, the audacity, like, to write such an open letter and have those rates is crazy. So, yeah, I lied. There is no light at the end of the tunnel. There is no money. There's no fair market value. There's no savior. There's no hope. What's the solution? I don't have one. I don't know. I decided I will not upload to any of these stores. And for any musician currently uploading to these royalty-free asset stores, please reconsider. You're being exploited. You're being exploited. And for anyone using these royalty-free asset stores, please reconsider. You're causing active harm. Everyone is affected by this. Thank you. Oh, and like and subscribe or whatever. I mean, who gives a shit, honestly?